When it comes to booking an all-inclusive resort stay with Sandals versus booking a cruise, the expectation is usually something like this. But that's not always reality.
He's a TA and he's gonna talk. Let's join Matt for today's TA Talk.
Hey, happy travelers, and welcome back into the home office for this installment of the TA Talk, where we are going to be talking about Sandals versus a cruise when we're talking about pricing it out. The general consensus is that Sandals is going to be a lot more expensive, and that can be true, but when we start to look at the finer details, we find out that the comparisons might actually be closer than you would think. So for this exercise, what I did is I went online, I found a random date generator. I used it to come up with a random date. In this case, it was April 13th, and I went to that week, and I found a stay at Sandals Montego Bay, which is the original Sandals resort. And I thought that was a good one because it's kind of middle of the road. It's not the cheapest Sandals, it's not the most expensive. It's kind of an average and kind of gives you an idea. Plus, it's in Jamaica, where a lot of people like to travel. And then I found a cruise on Royal Caribbean that also leaves that same date for that week. So did a week-long stay at Sandals, a week-long cruise on Royal Caribbean. And looking at the different options, I chose Symphony of the Seas, which was leaving from Miami, doing a, like I said, 7-night sailing through the Caribbean. So you're getting Caribbean versus Caribbean, 7 nights versus 7 nights, kind of middle of the road Royal Caribbean ship, not the most expensive, not the cheapest, and then but has some of the offerings that we're going to be talking about versus in that Sandals, kind of average it out to give us an accurate comparison between two things for the same exact week. Oh, and by the way, all of these comparisons will be for 2 people because Sandals only allows 2 people to book. So we're going to price it out the same for the cruise to get the most accurate comparison. So let's go ahead and start with the comparisons between the two. A week-long stay at Sandals Montego Bay for the week of April 13th, 2025 versus the 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise from Miami on Symphony of the Seas for the same week. That cruise will be stopping at Royal Caribbean's private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay, as well as St. Thomas and St. Martin. So same week, both Caribbean. Break it all down. Let's start with the entry-level option for both of the choices. So let's begin with the cruise with Symphony of the Seas. We'll start with the cruise. That's what most people know. With the cruise, 2 people in the interior guarantee. That was the lowest price option. So that means Royal Caribbean is going to choose the stateroom location for you, but you're guaranteed to get on the cruise. And so what you're going to have with that, you're going to have your room, of course. You're going to be able to travel to those multiple destinations on the cruise, the private island, St. Thomas, St. Martin. Activities are going to be included, like your shows, entertainment, also your tangible activities like the flow rider or doing the zip line, rock climbing, things like that. You're going to have some food included, as we know with a cruise, like things like the main dining room, the buffet, Sorrento's Pizza, little snack areas, things like that, and some beverages. So your basic offerings of tap water, standard coffee, non-fresh squeezed juices, lemonade, milk, things like that. That's what you're going to have. And to get into that, so entry-level price came out to be $2,364.14. But that does not include a lot of the other things like gratuities, which you have to pay for. So really, it's going to be higher than that. You're going to have to pay for those gratuities at some point. You're not going to have any alcoholic drinks, any soda, anything like that. No specialty dining included in that pricing. And of course, excursions, those are going to be more. Spa treatments are going to be additional. And Wi-Fi, if you choose to have internet on your cruise, would also be at an additional cost. But entry level to get on the cruise to reserve your spot, $2,364.14. Now let's flip over and compare that to the entry-level option at Sandals Montego Bay for that same week. Again, that's in Jamaica, Sandals' original resort, though it has been renovated, of course. So when you're starting out with Sandals, their entry level is going to be called luxury level at most of their resorts. That's what it's going to be. You can also then upgrade to club level or to Butler level rooms. But for this one, it is a luxury level room. More specifically, it's called a Caribbean Deluxe. So that is the category that we're starting out for that week. Now, something very important to point out before we continue here is that the lowest level room at a Sandals resort, any of the entry level rooms at any of their resorts, are going to be nicer and larger. I mean, that's a little bit subjective with the niceness, but nicer and larger than any cruise cabin until you get up to a suite. So an interior, an ocean view, a balcony, Honestly, even a junior suite, you're starting to push it. So just think about that. And when you stay even at the lowest level room at any Sandals resort, you're going to have a view of some kind. It's not going to be an interior. It's typically going to be larger than a lot of the cruise rooms are. And as you start to go up in room level at Sandals, they can start to get larger and larger, nicer and nicer amenities. You really don't start comparing rooms until you get to the upper level suites on a cruise. So keep that in mind. When you stay at Sandals, regardless of what experience level you choose, you are going to have some things included no matter what. Every stay at Sandals will include certain things. First of all, your accommodations, obviously, for whatever room level you choose. Activities are going to be included. So that can be land activities like basketball or ping pong or throwing bags or whatever. Also water activities, so doing kayaks, paddle boards, Hobie Cat sailors. Daily snorkeling excursions are free and included. Daily scuba diving excursions, if you're certified, are also free and included. You're gonna have entertainment included with that as well, so they'll do different things like reggae night or a white party, chocolate night, different things like that. All of your food is going to be included with a stay at Sandals. Very, 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 very few exceptions to that. Like I know one place we stayed had a caviar bar, that was additional, but for the most part, don't worry about that. Let's just say, to make it easy, all food is included with your stay at Sandals, and that includes a variety of special restaurants. Now, those restaurants will vary from resort location to resort location, but for example, at Sandals Montego Bay, you're gonna have 12 gourmet restaurants included. So as you can see, ton of different culinary options on resort here. You also have the option at certain Sandals to go to other resorts, but we're not talking about that right now. Let's just stick to Montego Bay. Just at that resort alone, all 12 of those food eateries are going to be included with your stay. And so any kind of food they have there, anything that's on the menu, as much as you want, it's yours. And in addition to that, the drinks are going to be flowing. Whatever drinks you want, they are yours. You want soda, you got it. You want juice, you got it. Alcohol, beer, wine, liquor, whatever you want, if they have it, it is yours as much as you would like, wherever, whenever you would like. You don't need a package. It is included with your stay. There aren't really any exclusions to that. So free-flowing drinks. And at Sandals as well, your tips are going to be included. For the most part, there are a couple little exceptions. Like if you do a spa treatment, you can tip your spa therapist. If you have a Butler level room, you can tip your butlers. We'll get to that in a little bit. But for the most part, your gratuities and tips are included with your stay at Sandals, so you don't need to worry about adding those on. You'll also get basic Wi-Fi included with your stay. So they do have a premium option, but if you want just the basic Wi-Fi to get you through, that is included. You do not need to pay additional for that. So really, typically speaking, the only things that come at an additional cost with Sandals, and remember, we're talking about an entry-level room here, just to get to the resort, bare minimum. You're getting all those things included. The only thing you're not getting, again, those spa treatments, those do cost additional. And if you want to do an excursion off the resort, just like for a cruise, excursions cost additional at Sandals as well. I think that makes sense. So all in, for all those things included for that week stay at Sandals Montego Bay in the entry-level room, we are looking at $5,621. So when we compare that to that entry-level interior guarantee on Symphony of the Seas, we obviously see a huge price difference there. We're talking several $1,000s between those two entry-level options. But as we covered, we were getting a lot more included with that stay at Sandals than we were on the cruise. So with that said, let's even the odds up a little bit here and try to get more of a tit-for-tat comparison between the two. So right now we're going to keep that same Sandals room that we were already talking about for $5,621, but we're going to switch the offering on the Symphony of the Seas sailing for that week. We're going to bump it up to an ocean view balcony. This was also a guarantee, so the room would be assigned to you. Obviously, if you wanted to choose your own room, you could do that, but that would come at an additional cost. And on this cruise, it was almost $400 more to do that. But just keep in mind, this is for an ocean view balcony guarantee. And so you're going to have an ocean view balcony, they're going to choose the location for you. Now, just like with our first cruise example, we're still going to have several things included here. We're going to have the traveling to the multiple locations, the certain food offerings, the certain basic drinks, your entertainment, your activities, all of those things. But for this example, in addition to bumping up to a balcony level room, we're also going to add on some different additional items to kind of even out the cost, to kind of give us a more accurate comparison between the two. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pay those gratuities, which, as I mentioned in the first example, you have to do anyways, but we're going to throw those on here now just to kind of help round out the price. We're also going to purchase some Wi-Fi here, and In addition to that, we're going to do the unlimited dining package, which means that you can dine at all the specialty restaurants on board. You can typically order as much as you want. And we're also going to throw in the deluxe beverage package, which will include the soda, the fresh squeezed juices, mocktails, specialty coffees, and of course, alcohol, though there are certain limitations to what that will cover. But for generally speaking sake, let's just say you're going to get all of those things now. So we're having to add those a la carte here. We're adding on those packages, adding on those, the internet and all that stuff separately. Now the prices of those items do fluctuate quite frequently. There is not a set price for any of those things. But coming in at what we can figure out based on our knowledge and our experience and the listed price range from Royal Caribbean on those things, we went with the minimum level price. It's best to anticipate that you will be paying a lot more for these items, but let's just say you got off good, you got a huge Black Friday sale or whatever, and you paid the lowest amount possible. So for the Wi-Fi for 2 people for the week, we came at about $210. The deluxe beverage package came in at about $700. That wasn't even including the gratuities, which you have to pay on that. But let's just say bare minimum here. And the unlimited dining package, about $400 for the week, though that has gone up as well. But again, we're talking entry level here. We're just guesstimating. So when we throw all of those things on there to our ocean view balcony guarantee room, we come up with a total estimated of $4,842.14. So you see already, we have really closed the gap here. We are now less than $1,000, more about $800 difference between going to Sandals for the week and just in the entry level room versus going on Symphony of the Seas for a week in an ocean view balcony room and adding on all those things that you would already get included with your stay at Sandals. So boom, right there, we've really closed the gap, really starting to see that comparison. Okay, now that we've talked about some of the entry level options, kind of some of the maybe mid-level options comparatively, let's look at going big or going home. You want that all-out experience between the two. What's it going to be like on the Royal Caribbean cruise on Symphony of the Seas? What's it going to be like staying at Sandals Montego Bay for the week? If you want it all, you want the biggest, highest level service and experience that you can get. Well, let's compare the two. Let's start with the cruise. We're going to be on Symphony of the Seas, of course, again, same cruise. And now we're going to bump up to a suite, but not just any suite. We're going to go all the way up to Star Class. So what we're talking about with that really quickly, Royal Caribbean on their Oasis and Quantum class ships has what they call the Royal Suite program and Royal Suite class, and it has these 3 different levels. So you have the Sea, Sky, and Star, depending on what suite category you book, and those will dictate what inclusions you get. Star is the highest level, so it's going to include your gratuities, it's going to include internet, it's going to have the unlimited dining package, the deluxe beverage package, all thrown in there. And you're going to get the Royal Genie, which is essentially a personal butler that can help make all of your dreams come true. Any wish you have, they will try to grant it. You're going to get reserved seating at different entertainment venues that they will escort you to, help you get on and off the ship quicker, all that good stuff. So just keep that in mind. That's what you're getting. When you go up to Star Class, you're getting that full-on VIP experience. So when we look at Symphony of the Seas for the week of April 13th, 2025, our beginning level Star Class room, now you could go higher, but the beginning level was the 2-bedroom Aqua Theater suite. And that came in at a price of $26,054.14. That's obviously a ton of cheddar cheese, but you're getting a lot of things included with that. The nice big Aqua Theater suite, 2 bedrooms. You're going to have the view of the Aqua Theater on the back of the ship to be able to watch the shows there. And as I just mentioned, everything that was already included with the cruise, you're of course going to get, even the stuff you had at entry level room. And now you're adding on all the benefits of Star Class, so the drinks and the dining and the Wi-Fi and the tips. So really, you don't have to consider paying for anything here. Anything additional. The only exceptions to that are still spa treatments. Those cost additional. Excursions still cost additional. And you'll notice we have little asterisks there under the Genie additional gratuity because your gratuities are covered for the cruise for your main dining staff and your housekeeping staff, but the Royal Genies are able to accept tips separately, and you'll want to do that because they're going to take great care of you. So you do have that option. That's something you would want to plan for additional. But just saying, pricing out, because that's subjective, pricing out everything you'll have to pay for and all the things included for that VIP experience on the cruise, $26,054.14. Now, how does that compare to a higher premium level offering at Sandals Montego Bay? Well, for that same week, again, staying at the same resort, same week, we already know that any level room at Sandals is going to include the entertainment, the activities, the drinks, the food. You get that regardless. So you're not even having to make a big jump up here. The only jump we're really making is that we're going to go to a Butler level room. So similar to what we were just talking about with the Royal Genie on Royal Caribbean, Sandals does have those Butler level rooms. You'll have a Butler team dedicated to you and during your stay, and they'll help take care of things, make reservations, make appointments, escort you to dinner, get you the best seats, all that kind of stuff. Little surprise and delight things that they'll put in the room. So it's much more of a hands-on VIP type experience. So you're still going to get all those things included with any Sandals stay. Now you're upping the game by having the butlers there to assist you. So we went with the starting level Butler room, just like we did the starting level Star Class room on the cruise. Starting level Butler room, you could go higher, but we got that, and that is going to be the beachfront oversized Butler Villa Suite. So beachfront, right in the name, tells us you are going to be on the beach, going to have a great room, great layout there, and have that Butler experience level. So that came in at a price of $8,257.20. Now again, no spa treatments included in that, excursions not included in that, and just like with the Royal Genie, your Sandals butlers can also accept tips. Even though you typically don't tip other Sandals staff, you can tip your butler. So that would be additional to your discretion, but just to get that experience, the things you would have to pay for, again, $8,257.20. So now, not only have we evened the odds, we have completely shifted the table towards Sandals' favor here when comparing the two experiences. $26,000 and change for Star Class on Symphony versus $8,200 and change for the Butler level experience for the week at Sandals. And just so we're clear on this, Sandals, of course, adults only, all-inclusive resorts. They do have beaches. That's their family brand where you can take the whole family, you can travel as a solo, all those kind of things. This similar setup, these similar kind of things that we're talking about would also apply to beaches. And of course, you would increase how many people were on the cruise. You would increase how many people were going to beaches, but it's the same principles, the same layout, all those things. So those would transfer over. So hopefully these examples kind of shed some light on the differences and discrepancies you might see in pricing with the all-inclusive resort stay at Sandals or beaches versus going on a week-long Caribbean cruise. Now, of course, I cannot stress this enough. There are so many variables with all of these scenarios, which cruise line you pick, which cruise ship you pick, which itinerary, which dates you travel. It's the same thing with Sandals. What dates you travel, how long you stay there, do you do luxury club or butler, which resort you go to, all those different kind of things. So you can have all kind of variables with this. This was just the way we thought would be the most fair, kind of come up with a random date and compare the week-long stay versus the week-long cruise to kind of give you an idea, because what often happens is we get people who are cruisers, they watch our cruise videos, they see us go to Sandals and they say, oh, I might like to try that. How much for Sandals for this week? And I send them the price and they go, egads, I can't afford that. But they're not thinking about once you start adding on the drink package, once you start adding on dining packages and Wi-Fi and paying your gratuities, how close those two things can start to get. And if you're really looking at those premium level experiences, as we saw, Sandals can actually be a bargain compared to going all out on Star Class on a cruise. So it's just something to consider. I think really pricing shouldn't actually be so much of your deciding factor between the two. I think it should just really be what you would be most into. Do you want to go to the same place, same resort, be there for a week? It's kind of going to be geared more towards relaxing and chilling out, kind of doing those things. Of course, you can go out and do activities. You can go snorkeling and scuba diving. You can pay for excursions and go explore the island just like you would do on a cruise, but you're going to be in that same place for the whole week. So do you want to kick back, relax a little bit more, enjoy the high-level service all week? Or do you want to go on a cruise that's going to visit different ports, do different things, have a bit more activities and excitement to it? It's just really your style and what you would prefer, but as we saw, the pricing can actually be a lot closer than you might have anticipated. So now that we've settled all of that, we will invite Spider-Man Potato Head to swing in with this week's mailbag. As always, please feel free to keep continuing to send your questions, your inquiries for me to answer. If you have any suggestions for future TA Talk video topics, please feel free to send those as well. I'm going to kind of just do a question of the week here, make sure we have plenty of questions left over. We did get a new batch in, so I'm very happy about that. But let's go ahead and answer this week's question, which is coming from Canadians Adventuring on YouTube. It says, what is it about cruising that makes you love it? Well, that's kind of on the nose of what we were just talking about. They also said, I enjoy the multiple ports and one vacation aspect and love water and ships. Yeah, there you go. And again, going back to our comparison, if you want to go to different places in one vacation, cruise cannot be beat. That's why it's so popular, and as well as being considered kind of the best value vacation. Of course, if you're staying towards that lower end, as we saw, if you go to the higher end, maybe not so much. But what do we love about cruising? We would pretty much agree with what you just said. Getting to go to those different ports is a huge plus. Absolutely love being out on the water and on the ocean. And going back to our comparison with Sandals and beaches, you still get that. You're on the beach. You can see the beautiful water, especially in places like beaches, Turks and Caicos, just beautiful at Grace Bay. But you know, sailing on the water is a lot different. Seeing the different ships, seeing the different boats, exploring different cultures in different areas, I think is what the big draw is for cruising. Having a place where you're kind of settled in and unpacked for the week or however long your cruise is, but you're getting to go to travel to different places and still have that home room to come back to every night, I think is a huge plus. So that's a lot of the reasons why we love cruising, but we'd love to hear why you guys love cruising. So feel free to comment down below. Tell us what is it that you love about cruising, or maybe if you want to take it and kind of run with today's video theme, what you love about staying at Sandals or beaches for those all-inclusive resort stays. Tell us what you love about your vacation travels. Thank you for the question, Canadians Adventuring, and thank you all for joining me for today's TA Talk video. I will see you in the next one. As always, I'll have to remind you that we are travel agents, so if you're interested in booking a cruise vacation or booking that all-inclusive resort stay with Sandals or beaches, we would love to make any and all of that happen, so please feel free to reach out via the travel agent information in the description of this and every video on the channel. Our services are completely free to you, no fees or costs whatsoever, and you won't pay a single cent more to book with us than you would direct on your own. If you've recently booked your cruise or your Sandals or beaches all-inclusive resort stay, you may still be able to transfer that booking to our agency free of charge, and then we'll be able to assist you the rest of the way. So either way, we hope we will hear from you soon. Once again, thank you for joining me for today's video. I'm signing off though. I will see you in the next TA Talk. Until then, happy travels!